Welcome everybody. Meeting is called to order at 6:41 p.m. Welcome to the November 14th meeting of the Community Crisis Response Program Advisory Board. As a courtesy, we ask that you please silence your cell phones or any type of noise devices. Next, I have a few announcements regarding public comments. All written public comments received by email must be received by 3:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting. They will be read to the advisory board during public forum and will be considered public record. They'll also be considered before advisory board action. Individuals who would like to address the board, a request to speak card must be given to the clerk before the announcement of the agenda item. If you would like to speak on an item not listed on the agenda or on the consent calendar, you must do so under public forum. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to speak. The same rules aforementioned will also apply for those who are attending virtually. For individuals commenting by video conference, click on the participants button at the bottom of your screen and select the raise your hand button. To comment by phone, you will be prompted to raise your hand by pressing *9. Please refer to the advisory board agenda for the list of items or the agenda items list open for public comment posted above the table located in front of the chambers as well as online. The first item on the agenda is roll call. For the purpose of the recording, may I please get an audible roll call from the advisory board and staff, starting with board member Barton.
Crystal Barton.
And you can just say here, present, yeah.
Crystal Barton, present.
Thank you. Board member Burrows, absent. Board member Decker,
Present.
board member Dixon,
Present.
board member Hatfield,
Present.
board member Johnson,
Here.
board member LoCicero, board member Rendon, absent. Board member Melendez,
Present.
board member Strain,
Present.
and board member Sullivan.
Present.
All right, so for the record, there are 2 board members absent, board member Rendon and board member Burrows. Currently, there are 2 vacancies on the board. All right. So next up, we have agenda review and modifications. Are there any changes to the agenda from the board? Okay, hearing none. Are there any changes to the agenda from staff? Okay, also hearing none. Then we'll move on to, there are no public comments for this one. Sorry. We're going to move on to item C, report from staff. Just so folks know, report from staff will be a standing item on all future agendas. It'll be a time for department staff to provide general updates. Program manager Michael Romero will start off.
Okay. Where are we at?
Your program up.
Updates. The most important thing we have going on right now is our hiring. We started out with having 8 intervention specialists that we're looking forward to starting them on the 1st. So we just sent out offer letters to 7, and we're hoping that they'll be ready to go on December 1st. So we're excited about that. Any other updates? We're waiting on that. That was a big one for us. Sam and I got a chance, and LaShonda got a chance to visit Martinez Hospital today. We got to meet with Dr. Fields and Dr. Yu. That was great. And we're excited to get started. Congratulations. It's nice to have 13 new board members here. Not everybody made it tonight, but we got 13. That's really exciting. I think that's all I got. Sam?
I don't have anything, with the exception of getting a space for staff members to come into on December 1st. So the rock team has a new space. We're building it out. There's some things that we need to adjust inside of it, but that has been a heck of a feat, and so we're glad to say that we finally have our home. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yep, that's it for me.
All right, so just a couple from me. Per the deputy city manager's suggestion last meeting, if you're planning on using a separate email for board matters, please make sure you update not just the staff liaison, but the city clerk's office as well for their records. Lastly, with the board's concurrence, unless there's any objection, I will convene the meeting to the point of item F2, the action item where the board will select a chair and vice chair. From there, I will exit my responsibility as the convener and turn it over to the chair. Sorry. Are there any questions from the board?
Where's the space?
So,
It's 450 Civic Center, right?
Oh,
City
okay.
Hall next to the
Okay.
Richmond room.
The one we discussed last time. Okay, yes. Thank you.
And it's Suite 120.
any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. There were no public comments for item C, so item D, public forum. If you are joining virtually, please click the raise your hand feature within the next 2 minutes to be allowed to speak. Tonight, we have zero public comments through email. And we have one in-person speaker, and I'll let y'all know if any virtual speakers show up. So again, each speaker shall be allowed up to 20 minutes to address the board. When you are called to address the board, clearly state your first and last name. We ask that you keep your comments respectful and appropriate. So we'll start with our first speaker, Cordell Handler.
Thank you. So,
1 second,
correction, it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes. State your name, and that's when I'll start the timer.
Okay. So good evening, board members, staff. For the record, I am Cordell Handler, and I have some wonderful news to share with you all. So, number one, I would like to invite this board and staff to the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference on December the 4th, hosted by the City of Pinole at 6:30 at their senior center. You must RSVP ahead, and it's only $70. That includes dinner too. So that's one. Then the second announcement is, let's see, coming up the day after is going to be the Richmond Community Foundation's Connects holiday party at East Brother Beer from 4 until 8 p.m. and it's free. So I'll give more information about that. And then what else? Yes, coming up on December the 13th, everyone's invited to the Senior Winter Ball hosted by the Commission on Aging, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's only $50 per person, and El Sol is catering. So please do attend. It's like, I've seen some of the decorations, and you'll be blown away by what you see in there. I'm telling you, $50 a person, that's not a bad idea. And then the fourth one, which is I just submitted, which Joan will pass around, is you're invited to the Richmond Rotary Club's 16th annual craft feed on January 24th, 2026. It will be held at Salesian College Preparatory High School, and it's only $80 per person. If you don't like crab, they got pasta and dessert too. And what else? Since I have the last few seconds, I do appreciate the city attorney's office presenting to you all about the training last month, and I thought the training was very helpful because I know from experience I was on a commission, and I said this training really opened my eyes. You know how about serial meetings, and which that's a no-no. So we have to follow the city attorney's advice on don't do serial meetings, and that's it.
In public speakers, and we have no virtual speakers as well. So we're gonna move on to sorry, item E, consent calendar. Uh, there are no items on the consent calendar, and we have no public speakers for this item. Does anybody have any questions or? Hearing none, we'll move into item F, advisory board as a whole. The first item is F1, introduce new advisory board members. So we'd like to welcome our recently appointed board members, Hope Dixon and Amber Hatfield. If you could briefly introduce yourself and your reason for joining the board, we will start with board member Dixon.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hope Dixon. I use pronouns she, they, and I'm super grateful and excited to be here with everybody this evening. I joined this commission for a couple of different reasons. In my day-to-day work, I work at Contra Costa College as their basic needs coordinator, and as part of that role, I help students who are going through crises. Sometimes they're hungry and we help them with food. Sometimes they're having trouble getting to school, so we help with transportation. And sometimes they're having a health crisis, either physical or mental, and we try to help them with those resources as well. But it's been super challenging. And I've had some challenging experiences through that. Specifically, I had a student worker who had a mental health crisis and ended up in a lockup for 48 hours before being put into a 72-hour hold. And it was very confusing and unclear of how that had happened. And so that's when I started getting more involved in the community, in mental health and in housing, and trying to see what I can learn and what I can do to help. And so that's what brought me here now. I'm so excited and pleased and honored at all the work that the city of Richmond has been doing. And I can't wait to help be a part of it and learn and grow and develop with all of you today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, board member Dixon. Board member Hatfield, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Amber Hatfield. I use they, them pronouns. And I've been a Richmond resident for 10 years in the Coronado neighborhood. I have really enjoyed getting to know my neighbors and hearing about how much the neighborhood has changed over their lifetimes. I've seen it change so much in the last 10 years, but I'm only seeing, a little tip of the iceberg on that change. And I joined this board because I believe very deeply in the mission of the Community Crisis Response Program, and the potential of it is enormous. It could have such an impact on, multiple community members, multiple different, demographics. And I think it could have impacts on all of us if we learn how to support one another as community members. And so I'm looking forward to talking about this program to the community, to my neighborhoods, to other neighborhoods. And I guess I should say I have a background in education, operations, and I have a heart for community. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, board member Hatfield. Thank you both for introducing yourselves. And again, welcome. We're very excited to work with you all along with everybody else. Are there any questions or anything from the other board members? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to public comment. We have one public speaker. That'll be Cordell Handler. Mr. Handler, you have 2 minutes to speak. State your name and we'll start the time.
20 minutes this time. So, good evening again, board members. For the record, I am Cordell Handler and I am a Richmond resident. So, I do want to welcome board members Hatfield and Dixon to this board. This was amazing because I'm like, we need more people that have experience in mental health. So I'm like, this is perfect. So now, what I forgot to neglected earlier was like, because we have 2 more slots open, so I will be talking to some youth to get them on board with this because this is important to them too. So I will be talking with them at a meeting next week. So I just want to welcome the new board members, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Handler. There are no further public speakers or virtual speakers. So we will move on to F2, discuss the roles of officers and elect a chair and vice chair. So there are one public speaker. If you are attending online, if you can raise your hand now so that we can add you to the list of public speakers. So just as a general introduction, Section 6 of the bylaws, the CCRP CAB bylaws state that the board shall elect a chair and vice chair. And so the board will determine the roles and responsibilities. It's not explicitly listed in the bylaws. So we'll start with a discussion on the roles of chair and then move into vice chair. So just some general responsibilities from the board commission's handbook. On page 14 of 15 of the city's board and commission's handbook, the chair normally is present at all meetings, ensures the board's work is being accomplished. They know and understand the rules of parliamentary procedure, and they apply those rules of conduct to the meeting. They ensure that all viewpoints are heard and are considered in a fair and impartial manner. They make the final ruling on the rules every time the chair states an action. They approve and sign correspondence and reports on behalf of the board, and before the city council with everyone's approval. And additionally, all decisions by the chair are final unless overruled by the body itself. Are there any questions? Otherwise, we can go into discussion about roles and responsibilities. Okay. Hearing none, we will go into roles and responsibilities for vice chair. So normally for vice chair, they just assume the responsibilities in the case that the chair is absent. But we can also expand on those if you all would like. Any questions on vice chair? Okay, hearing none, considering what was just discussed, we will now move into the second half of the agenda item, which is to formally elect the chair and vice chair. Are there any nominations for chair?
Can I just share really quickly, Joan, if you
Yes.
don't mind? So we're going to do somebody, you can nominate yourself. Somebody will nominate and there'll be a second, and then we'll confirm that the person that was nominated actually wants to accept the position. And if so, then there'll be an official nominee. So just letting you know, and then the next person, it can be multiple people that are going after the chair position.
Board Member Johnson, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I would like to nominate LaShawn Monique Johnson as chair.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have, sorry. Is that right, LaShonda? You
Yes,
motioned first?
so
Okay.
Member Johnson nominated herself, and there was a second by Member Hatfield. Is that correct? Hatfield?
Hatfield.
Hatfield.
Thank you.
And so, Board Member Johnson, just to confirm, do you accept this nomination?
Yes.
Great. Any other nominations?
Hi, Hope Dixon. I nominate myself for the role of chair.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
So that's a second from Board Member Decker. Okay. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Sonia. Oh, are we on vice chair?
No, still
Not
on
yet,
chair.
we're still on chair.
Okay. So, hearing none, oh, actually, Councilmember Dixon, do you accept the nomination?
I do accept the nomination. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. If those are all the nominations, can I get a motion to close?
Motion to close.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have Board Member Decker motions to close the nominations, and then Board Member Melendez seconds. Okay. The motion passes. Does anyone want to, or actually, do they still have to vote on that, right, LaShonda?
Since you did a motion, now
Yeah.
you have to vote on just that last part, and then we'll do the vote to elect.
Great. So, if you agree with closing the nominations, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, say no. Anybody abstain? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, great. So now we will move into a secret ballot, but before we go into that, if the nominees want to share why they're interested in this position, this is a time for you to share. So we can start with Board Member Johnson, if you'd like.
I would like to be the chair because, one, this is not my first advisory meeting, board that I've been on. I've served on a community advisory board with Fresh Approach, an advisory board with Urban Tilth. I feel like I'm missing one, and now this one. So I've really prepared myself for this bigger one, which most people feel like this is a more real one. And I really understand the mission of Rock. I've been following the work for a long time. Also, just with working in the community of Richmond, living in Richmond, growing up in Richmond, I've seen time and time again where if this had been here 20 years ago, 15 years ago, the impact it would make. I'm also very reliable. I feel like I have a really great relationships within the community, and I really value each person here, each voice here, and also thinking of the people that are not here, thinking of the people that we will be serving, and trying to use a open and trauma-informed, of course, and all those great words of an approach, but just a human approach in the work that we're doing. And I plan on being here at every meeting on time and being able to communicate and share with my counterparts equally and taking in their views as well, even if they do differ, but being a good sounding board, which I've been told of reason, working with various people, different backgrounds. And I really want to see this work succeed and do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Johnson. Board Member Dixon?
Well, you sold me. But I know that either one of us would do a terrific job at the role. There's so much care and compassion in this room. The reason I'm really interested in the chair position is specifically because as this is a new developing board, I know that there's going to be a significant amount of work. I'm just finishing up my role on the Council of Homelessness. For the last 2 years, I've been the community representative on there. And very similarly, I'm ready to dive in deeper. This is something that our community desperately needs, and not today, not yet, but yesterday. And so it's my hope that, we're going to be able to, yes, meet here monthly, but as well as form work groups and form committees and do the work to make this happen and to help support our 7 new hires, as well as our leadership team, because I know that it's going to be through partnership that this is just going to be the most amazing unit, and I'm very excited, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Board Member Dixon. So we will now move into a formal vote. Again, it's a secret ballot, so I'll hand each of you a piece of paper on which you will write your preferred candidate. You may also abstain from voting, and then I'll have our staff member, Rob Livefeld, and he will take each of your your votes, and don't fold them. If you could just turn them down, and then he'll just collect them that way. So I will hand them out first, and then we'll move into the voting.
Here.
Do folks need more time, or can one of our staff members start collecting? Okay. Right, again, just turn it down, face down, and then Rob will collect them. Don't fold it. Do not. Yeah. All right. The nominee with the most number of votes is Board Member Dixon with the vote of 5, total of 5 votes. So congratulations, Board Member Dixon. I will now turn it over to the newly appointed chair to take over the rest of the meeting, or we can also continue the meeting if you'd like. We can continue the meeting for you if you'd like, or you can start taking over.
Practice makes perfect. I guess we'll just go for it.
Great, thank you.
All right. And so I think that we now need to move on to our nominations for vice chair. We'll start with, are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate LaShawn Monique Johnson.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I can't see your name. What's your name again? Alice. Okay. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Is there any discussion on that one? Okay. All right. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll close the floor to nominations.
That's fine.
With only one nominee, do we still have to take a formal vote?
No,
Okay.
I don't think we do.
Congratulations, Shara. You are our new vice chair. Thank you. All right. And then on to our next item.
Oh, sorry, real quick.
Yep.
There is one public speaker for item F2. There are no virtual speakers, but if you are virtual right now, if you could just raise your hand, and then we can add you to the list. So we have Mr. Cordell Hindler as our only speaker for the night. Cordell, again, Mr. Hindler, please state your first and last name, and then the time will start.
Okay, let me phrase it correctly. So, good evening, Chair Dixon, Vice Chair Johnson. For the record, I am Cordell Henley. I am excited to see that Hope Dixon is now the chair and we have a vice chair. So I'm like, it's such a wonderful, good feeling, doesn't it? And it's like, I mean, try to come to these meetings as periodically as I can. So congratulations to Chair Dixon and Vice Chair Johnson. That's it.
Joan, I'm sorry, and to Chair Dixon, I apologize, we do need a vote just to confirm and solidify the vice chair, so it can still, you don't have to do a ballot, but we just need to have the vote done to confirm the formal vote, the formal action. Sorry about that.
Does it need to be a vote where I individually call names, or could I do it all in favor?
Yeah, all in favor, I
Okay.
think is fine today. Thank you. Sorry about that.
All right. Do I need to ask for a motion for that one?
Well, somebody already
Motion for, okay.
motioned,
All
did a
right.
first and a second, so we just
Thank
need to
you.
do the formal. Thank you.
All in favor of confirming Chair, Board Member Johnson to be the Vice President, or VP Johnson, please say aye.
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 Do we have any opposed? Or any abstentions? Seeing none, hearing none, we are officially confirming Vice President, I'm going to get this right, Johnson.
You're doing great.
Right there.
Congratulations to the chair and vice chair. Thank you all.
All right, and so our next item is going to be item F3. And this is going to be about staggering initial terms in office. Joan, are you able to share a little bit with us?
Yes, so in the bylaws, again, section 4, it states that board members will serve a term of 3 years. However, the members first appointed will determine staggered terms through lots. Terms need to be staggered so that not everyone's term is expiring at the same time. This allows for overlap between newcomers and current board members and avoids the loss of institutional knowledge with the appointment of new board members. So with that, we are going to put terms, like the term years, in a hat. I'm going to ask you to bring a hat, sorry. And you will pull from that hat your specific term. Any questions on that?
Is it Sam's hat?
It will be Sam's hat. So- Sorry, I meant to get one, but okay, so we are going to put them all in a hat now, or in a box.
You're already on that side.
We did put terms for 13 members, even though we don't have a full board yet, just so you all know. And there's always opportunity to reapply, regardless of your term.
Joan. So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I didn't mean to startle everyone. My voice is loud by itself. I really don't need a mic. But so what are you asking us to do? That pardon my ignorance. This is my first.
No, all
board,
good.
So what do you want
So
to be?
these lots will determine how long your term will be. So I know when the mayor appointed each of you, I think there was already a term assigned, but that actually wasn't what was stated in the bylaws. The bylaws state that the terms have to be determined through lots. in the first meeting. Well, technically the second meeting, but since it was tabled to this meeting, that's why we're drawing lots today.
So I'm writing down what I want my term to be, or what,
So
it's already written, it said.
yes.
Right.
So the number that you have on the card, that's the term that you have.
Okay,
That's the term you will have. But again, like Deputy City Manager White mentioned, you can reapply even after your term
so
ends.
this is just to tell me the term that I have.
Currently.
Yeah, you can get a
Okay.
1 year, 2 year, or 3 year term initially.
Thank you for the explanation.
So we need to go around and so we can know which terms each person has and we can make note of it.
Okay, we will start with Board Member Hatfield.
I have a 1-year term.
Thank you. Board Member Dixon.
Also a 1-year term.
Now I'm gonna just go in alphabetical order. Board Member Barton.
3-year term.
Board Member Burrows. Absent. Board Member Decker.
3-year term.
Board Member Johnson.
1 year.
Board Member Lucicero.
1 year.
Board Member Melendez.
3-year term.
Board Member Rendon. Absent. Board Member Strain.
The 3-year long haul.
And Board Member Sullivan.
2 years.
Well, that's from the spring. Okay, thank you. So with that, are there any questions, comments? Okay, I'll pass it off to Chair Dixon.
All right, thank you. On to the next item. It's going to be item F4, which is administrative matters.
Sorry, we have to announce public comment after each
Oh,
item.
after each one,
Yeah.
my bad.
No worries, all good, we're learning.
We have public comment for F3.
Yes, so we have one public speaker, no public comments via email, and if you are attending virtually, if you can raise your hand now to be added. So first off, we have Cordell Handler. Again, Cordell, state your name and we'll start the timer.
Okay, so good evening again, Chair Dixon, board members. For the record, I am Cordell Henler and I'm a Richmond resident. So when I was looking at that item for term expiration, so I know from experience, I have served on a different commission, 2 consecutive, so I can't reapply. So I'm like, okay, I served 2 terms, so it's wonderful that you're taking on 3 more, 1 or 3-year stint. I'm like, that's perfect. So hopefully we can keep on more, keep the terms as is. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Handler. There are no additional public comments.
On to our next agenda item. It's going to be item F4.
Okay.
And it is administrative matters.
Correct. So I can give general availabilities first. So for use of the council chambers, the 3rd Mondays and 4th Wednesdays are available. Most Fridays are available. The 2nd Thursdays also tend to be free. However, for December, it's already reserved, so we would have to move that meeting. So just to repeat, for council chambers, this room, 3rd Mondays, 4th Wednesdays, any Friday, and the 2nd Thursdays of each month. However, December will have to have a different date. And then second option is the Richmond room, which is the room to the right of the security desk in 450. It's a bit smaller, but it does have the capability for hybrid. And availability for that room is, it's a lot more flexible. Second and fourth Mondays, first, second, and third Tuesdays, fourth Wednesdays, and fourth Thursdays.
Sorry, could you repeat one more time the availability for the first?
For the
room?
council chambers? Yes, so the council chambers, again, that's third Monday, fourth Wednesday, and then most Fridays are available. The second Thursdays are free, but again, December will need to have a different date because that's already booked. And then the other room is the Richmond room. Should I repeat those as well? Okay. So the Richmond room, again, 450 to the right of the security desk. And the availability for that is second and fourth Mondays, first, second, and third Tuesdays, fourth Wednesdays, and fourth Thursdays. Board Member Hatfield?
Does the staff have a preference on the room?
We would prefer either like a Wednesday or Thursday.
So you have a scheduling preference, Wednesday or Thursday, but not necessarily on the room. Does it matter?
No,
Does
not
one take more to set up than the other, or?
not necessarily. I mean, I guess this one would be a little bit more to set up because the Richmond room is actually right next to our office. So, but ultimately up to you all.
They're fine. They don't care. I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm doing too much. It's okay.
Board Member LaCicero?
We talked, I have a schedule difference between different days of the week, and I wonder if others do. For me, the Wednesday is better in that I could come earlier than I can make it on a Thursday, but I don't know how that syncs up with other people's schedules. I'm just wondering if the schedules matter, if our, availability matters for day of the week.
I would imagine so. Wednesdays don't work for me. The fourth Wednesday, I have my own neighborhood council meetings.
Thursdays don't work for me. I am a college student, so I could periodically probably pull off missing one class, but I do believe the council wants me to graduate. So I need to attend class.
We do. We do want you to graduate.
What, could you repeat that day again? Just so.
Thursday.
Thursdays, okay.
What's the conflict on Tuesdays? Because that was something you were saying, Joan, that you guys didn't want to do.
There's no conflict. We just, we want to make sure that our intern is able to attend and his schedule is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if Monday or Tuesday is the best day, then we'll go with what the board decides.
I am going to throw this out there. If people like to attend city council meetings, they do happen on Tuesday evenings, and they are the first, third, and often fourth Tuesday of the month. So I also want people to have opportunities to attend that meeting if they care.
So the
I know
other
you all
room is
love it.
available on the second Tuesday, is that correct?
You would be in the Richmond, if you wanted a Tuesday, it wouldn't be here. It would be in
wouldn't
the
be
Richmond
here,
room,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just say from my own availability, I'm on the road working with workers to form unions Tuesday through Thursday every week. So, yeah.
Does anybody have a conflict with that fourth Monday? Third Monday?
Let me look.
Rob is fine.
I think Rob.
Rob is okay.
Okay.
He's okay.
Do we think that might be a potential date for us? Okay, so I'm seeing some affirmations in that way. But it's not an official action item, so tell me what to do next.
Someone will have to make a motion.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering if the second or fourth Monday is generally better for people, if there's like a difference between that, if we're thinking maybe Mondays in the Richmond room.
I guess my comment is more so, are we able to just plan for the next one? and then at the next one, create like a more consistent date? Because I've heard everyone, but I feel like I'm trying to remember each person just to keep it in mind on like, okay, well, I don't want to be like Thursday, and I know you can't be here, or you have something like that. Is that possible?
It would be up to all of you to decide
I,
that.
I wish we could do something like a doodle or something where we can just,
You have
because it's
time to
like
sit and look at it.
sit and look at it and, check off the dates, and then it'll tell you what date is the most available than trying to hash it out here. So if that's an option to choose for the next meeting here, but then in between that, have some format where we can choose dates and then that'll be already done before the meeting because it'll just show this is the date that won. Suggestion.
Board Member LaCicero.
Yeah, I like that idea, and I like the idea of just planning the next one because there are now, what, 4 more members, board members who are not here and wouldn't be able to give their preference. But if we did it by poll online, then we'd have all of us have a chance.
Someone would need to make a motion and be as specific as possible.
I motion to, Andrew, you want to go? I motion to have the next board meeting be on the third Monday of December, and that the commission will decide on a regular meeting time via doodle for future months.
Can I get a second?
Sorry, I just had a question. Sorry, my understanding was that we were going to use the online poll to find out for next meeting. So, oh no, okay. So we're still going to determine a meeting today.
We're going to choose the meeting today.
Okay.
That's my understanding, and then
Okay.
use the doodle for the permanent meeting.
Okay.
You can have different motions. I just want to be clear about that too. That's one motion. You would need a second to vote on it, but if someone had a different motion, you could do that as well.
It's okay. I would second that motion. Yeah.
Well, if we wanted to be in the Richmond room, it couldn't be the third Monday. Third Monday would be in here, right? So it'd have to be the second Monday. Okay.
What is available on the third Monday?
It's
Yeah,
here.
okay. Yeah, so it would be here. Yeah.
I think for me, it doesn't matter where we are, long as we have like a good date. I've met in the Richmond room. It is more family-like in there. It's real cozy. But long as we have a good date, and if we can change it to another open date or something, if we want to be here for certain things, I think we should be able to do that.
Could I amend the motion then? Amend it to the second Monday in the Richmond room, and we'll decide for future months at that meeting.
Second Mondays, I have like a permanent block, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Okay. Reverting to the previous, but yeah, this sounds good. Third Monday.
All in favor for the motion, because we've had a second. And
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, seems the motion has passed. Joan, are you able to help us set up that doodle poll?
Yes.
Okay, because I know emailing gets,
No, it does. But just to confirm that I have the correct motion, it's third Mondays in here, and then send out a doodle poll after that meeting or in between. Yeah. Okay.
When we say third Mondays, it's just the next Monday is December 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The S on there, so I just didn't know.
No.
And I think the doodle poll will need to go out before so that we can make a decision next month about a permanent time.
Or we'd be able to add that to the agenda on what the poll, the conclusion of what.
Make sure when you talk, you speak into the mic because we're recording. Thank you.
Apologies. Should I say it again? Yes, I guess I should. So I guess for the December 15th meeting is where we would have what was concluded or what we got from the poll on the agenda, and then we would vote for said date or dates that were proposed in the location. Okay? Okay.
Can I confirm that the time is still 6:30? Is that a start time on December 15th?
No, that hasn't also been determined.
Okay.
So is there a time specifically that works for everybody?
I just looked at my calendar and I see that that is the 15th is the first day of Hanukkah. That doesn't affect me personally, but I don't know if there's any concern about holding a meeting on that date.
If the committee doesn't have an issue.
No. It would affect me, but it's fine. There's lots of days of Hanukkah. Thank you for thinking of it.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask the board a question about the time? I don't know. I think we only have two. So our last meeting, we started at 5:30. I thought today's meeting was 5:30. I kind of liked 5:30. I was like, I like 5:30 because we ran over a smidge. So even with us running over, I still felt like, oh, this isn't too bad versus starting at 6:30. And if we do run over, you probably have less stretch room with me on like the time because it's late. And if it's a Monday, most folks have work the following day.
If I may just add to think about, if we're doing it in the council, you got to come a little earlier than 5:30 to actually be able to eat your meal. Just knowing that.
Five? Like what's a little bit
It
earlier than
depends on
5:30?
how fast you eat.
Oh,
So are we saying that you saying that we would come 5:30 opposed to 6:30, and if you want to eat, then you should come before then? That's what I'm understanding, right? Okay.
Correct.
Would you consider 6? I have a childcare issue if we start at 5:30, but I can also resolve that if everyone else is totally into 5:30 on Monday.
You just need to, someone can just make a motion if they would like to do that as well.
Make a motion that we start the meeting on December 15th at 6 p.m.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. All right, any other discussion? I don't think so, seeing none, and we will move on to public comment for this item.
So before I move into public comment, just want to confirm, Board Member Barton, you proposed the motion, and then Board Member Melendez seconded.
Correct.
Great, thank you. So for item F4, if there are there's no public comment at this time.
I just had a question. I might be out of turn since it's closed, but were we also, like, during this item F4, were we also able to talk about upcoming future agenda items that we wanted to see at future meetings as well?
Yes, that was correct. Sorry, that was on me. I forgot that there was a second half of that item, so.
We're all learning.
So our suggestion would be that agenda items be submitted no more than 1 week before the day of the meeting. And that's just to allow staff adequate time to research and prepare presentations or other supplemental materials. We are a very small department and team, all wearing very different hats. And so I think extra time is always better for staff.
So that's no less than 1 week, right? Okay.
So would the proper procedure be to reach out to staff to like request some, like an agenda item be on the calendar for the next meeting, or would we go directly to the chair and then?
For other boards that I have chaired, it can go either way, where you can talk to the staff liaison or the chair, and then the chair and the staff liaison work together to build the agenda for the meeting. And then they decide what's going to be on the agenda, if it's going to be on that one or the next one, and that gives time for staff to prepare staff reports as appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
But
So-
if staff here has any different direction, please feel free to state that.
No, not I at least.
Okay, thank you. I'll use that avenue for future agenda items then.
Sorry, I have one more question about agenda items. I think this falls under that. Are minutes taken of the meeting? And are they presented back to us at a certain point?
Yes, they'll be on the consent calendar.
And usually minutes would come the following meeting, but maybe 2 meetings later. It just depends on, once again, on staff capacity, on our ability to, and we would do action item minutes and not full transcription minutes. Thank you.
Yes, so the next meeting will have 2 minutes that you all will have to approve.
Question? So, to Mr. Melinda's point about submitting agenda items, so is this something that we all should do, which is we are going to submit our agenda items to the chair and chair works with staff liaison, or is it individually people can choose how they want to submit? And also, is the chair okay with that? Because we didn't get her input or their input.
It's up to you all to decide if there's a specific avenue that you all want to take, or if you want to open it up to people. I think you should just pick one. So either go to the chair first or go to the staff liaison first, and then we would both still be working with each other.
A recommendation just off of other advisory boards I've been on, and just because I'm a little newer at this position, would be submitting the proposed agenda items to staff, and then potentially us putting a regular meeting in that week prior to this meeting so that we can discuss and put together the agenda. Okay. I need to make that a motion now?
Yes, if you can request that somebody make a motion.
Can I make the motion as chair? Am I allowed? Okay. All right. I move that agenda items that are proposed by board be submitted at least 1 week prior to our scheduled meeting, to be reviewed by staff and the chair in a meeting 1 week, prior to our meeting, to be agendized. Sorry.
And in the motion, could you clarify who we're sending the proposed agenda items to?
CCRP advisory staff, which would be Joan and Michael, and Sam.
I would just say me.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
Joan.
Joan. Not trying to overwhelm the inboxes.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, awesome, unanimous. Thank you so much, y'all. Do we have any other questions about this item? Either the dates, the times, the scheduling, or future agenda items?
No, just a comment. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. We're sending all agenda items to Joan, minimally a week in advance, no later than a week in advance. And then Joan and you and other parties will develop the agenda for the meeting. That's what I'm walking away understanding.
Yes, that is my understanding as well. The only other thing I'd add, and now that I'm just listening to it back, is do we want VP? Do you want to be in the meeting planning the agenda? Because I always think that, having 2 parties is more helpful than one. But I also don't know what your schedule day to day looks like.
I think, as I'm thinking about it also, I did think if it should be a little more advanced, just in case that 1 week is like a holiday or it's really busy, for the VP or the chair to be able to even meet with Joan to talk about it. But also, I think it would be important for whoever submitted a item that they were to be notified if that item made it to the agenda or not. So just love for people to get some feedback, like, okay, we got it and it made it, or no, it didn't because of this reason. So I would maybe want to amend that motion to have it sent maybe 2 weeks, or let's say 9 days before before the next meeting, so we have enough time. But as far as me being included, I don't mind being included. So at least if you're not free, or I can still attend. So then we need to make a new motion. I would like to motion that all board members submit their proposed agenda items 9 days before the next meeting. All items proposed will get a response back if their agenda item made it for the upcoming meeting or not. That will allow myself, the chair, vice chair, and Hope, chair, to schedule a meeting appropriately or within enough time with Joan, who's the CCRP staff or liaison, to work on the proposed agenda for that upcoming meeting. That was a lot.
Sorry, just some clarification. So, 9 days, that's 9 calendar days and not 9 business days,
I would say
correct?
9 calendar days.
Okay, and then can you be more specific as to how soon that response back should be to the person that submitted?
I guess it would depend on when we were able to meet within that time. So let's say at least they should get a response back like 3 days before the next meeting or that upcoming meeting.
I just had a question. If you're making it non-calendar days, do you work on the weekends?
Sometimes.
Okay, no, I'm saying because if you only work Monday through Friday, then it's kind of mute. Like you're not going to see if I do it, Saturday night till Monday anyway. So, I don't know if that's the best time frame, or should it just be work days, the days we know you work Monday through Friday. Because if I count the weekend, then I'm gonna respect the response, but you didn't see it till Monday. So that's just thought.
Something to consider.
What if we go for that 2 weeks? So was that 10 business days for the proposal to be submitted, and then hear back with, and then, yeah, the person will hear back and we'll know the agenda 1 week in advance. So that would give y'all 1 week to meet. And
Just for a point of clarity, I'm learning as well. So because you all had a motion and a second and then took a vote, which passed, what you're doing right now is you are reconsidering a motion. So I believe you need to take a motion, make a motion with a second to reconsider the vote. Then yes, and so everybody voted in approval of the last one, so you can reconsider the same motion, and now you open it back up for discussion, and then if you want to take another vote, or the vote that you took needs to stand. So I believe that is what I think needs to happen, because you all are continuing to talk about an item you already voted on.
So that
You can make a motion to reconsider, and then you'll get a second, and then we can, if it's approved, then now you can continue the conversation.
Thank you. What I was going to say is I think I did make a second motion. I just made one.
Okay,
but
somebody
I don't
needs-
think, but
First, you need to make a motion to reconsider the vote that was already taken, not just make a second motion.
Gotcha.
Because usually, if somebody makes a first,
Yes.
and then and they second it, before you vote on it, someone can say, "I have a substitute motion," right? But that's not what happened. You all voted on it, and then you started to have a conversation again,
And then
as
we
if
made
you hadn't
another
voted.
motion.
So I want to first have you all make a motion to reconsider the last vote, get a second, then we'll vote. If it is approved, then somebody can make a different motion, or continue the conversation and then make a different motion.
I motion to reconsider the previous motion that was passed.
I second the motion.
Do I do an all in favor?
Yes,
All in
please.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Any opposed? Sorry. Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we are under reconsideration.
Thank you.
I think now you're good to make the motion.
And then
now.
Vice Chair, if you had a different motion, you can make it again.
Well, thank you. I was just looking at my calendar just to give myself an example of how much, like I don't want to give not we don't want to make it to where it's so sharp to where if you have a good idea that you like, oh, I've missed the window. So I do hear what you're saying with the 2 weeks, which does sound very great, and it does give us enough time. But then that's 2 weeks. If you thought of something on the 13th day at night, and you forgot to do it while you're at work, I want you to be able to have time to get your
Could
thought
we
in.
say this 2 weeks? Yeah, so you could say the 2 weeks, and then we will consider anything at 2 weeks. If it comes after 2 weeks, it may or may not get considered. You can submit it, but depending on staffing and whatever else they're doing, they may not have an opportunity to look at it, and it might have to be put over to the next agenda. But I think we need a solid, straight, like if it's 2 weeks, if you do it after 2 weeks, that's fine, and they'll make every effort to try to consider it, but it may not happen depending on what's going on with the staff. And then also, I want discuss if the person, if your item is on the agenda, I don't know if you need a week, maybe you need, 72 hours, 3 days or 2 days. I don't know why you would need a week to know that your item is on the agenda. And it gives them more time, you guys, to meet, because everyone has a different, you and her have three different schedules. So it may not happen that you can do it a week before. So give yourself more time, and that you'll let the person know, 48 hours or 72 hours, that if their item made the agenda or not. But I definitely think the 2 weeks is a great cutoff time, but you could submit after that. It just may not get addressed depending on the scheduling of the three of you, because everyone has different things going on. So, and when anybody's stressed out, we're all volunteering here and doing our best. So, yeah, that's just my proposal, or discussion around that. I didn't even make a, yeah.
I had a point of information too. My understanding of Robert's, or not using Rosenberg's rules. Not Robert. We're not into Robert. So is that you can still motion to amend the agenda day of if there's some urgent pressing thing that we need to take up that, so, that we still have that flexibility, just so folks are aware.
Also, just a point of clarification for myself. Is there a process? I was just trying to look and find it, so forgive me if this has already been covered in the last meeting, but I'm figuring all this out. Is there a process of submitting an agenda item? Like, do you just write and say, I'd like this to be on the agenda, or you need to fill out a specific form with detailed information? Like, I'm just trying to understand how much time we might need to actually submit an agenda item, like what that process is.
Joan, can I?
Yeah.
What I have seen, not that this is how it has to be done, I've done a few boards, people may submit an agenda item topic. I'm not necessarily recommending that you all write agenda items. But like if you say, I really want to have a discussion about the dashboard, right? Then you can submit that as an agenda item topic. Staff will work on the actual, what comes in the agenda in terms of the language that we put in the agenda item or the staff report, versus having all of you feel like you need to write agenda reports. I mean, that's my recommendation. I have not sat on a board or staffed a board in my time here where I've had individual board members all writing agenda reports. Not that you can't, that can get to be a bit much. But if you give us time, you tell us what you want to talk about, then we can prepare PowerPoints or the information needed to include in the staff report. And really the conversation, in my experience, has been around if there are 10 agenda items that have been submitted for discussion, we meet with the chair and say, here are the 10 agenda items with the time we have. Do we think we can get through them all, right? And we start there, and then staff will work on agenda items, staff reports, and we will share them with the chair just for feedback, and then we post. That has been my experience, which has worked well, but if you all have something different, or if staff wants to do something different, I support that.
Yeah, I would just say in terms of like a form that you can submit about agenda items, I think an email is fine. But everything that LaShonda said, I do agree.
Thank you.
If I can just make a suggestion, there's going to be a lot of topics we're going to be covering, and because we're going to have a lot of front-facing information, especially like LaShonda mentioned with the dashboard, I'm thinking we can make like a sheet so you can kind of, draft something to say, I want to talk about the dashboard. I want to talk about transporting clients for care, and then just very generic. So we can build out, presentation, PowerPoints, so we can cover as much of the request. I know that time's always an issue with all of us, but the more prepared we are, the more responsive we can be to. It's going to be fast moving once we get started. So if we just had a quick, easy form that y'all could fill out, and then we can knock out as many of the agenda items that we receive. In my humble opinion, that would be helpful. And it's an easy enough sheet to make, simple for you all to fill out, simple enough for us to prepare for. That would be my suggestion.
Just to respond to you, Michael, that's a form that we would have to create for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just loving all this discussion and conversation. I know we have to get a little bit closer to a decision as the time clicks by. The one thing that's kind of coming to mind is that we're not going to perfect these practices on day one. So what we decide today, can be changed in the future as we move and figure things out. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to see what works and what doesn't work. If we are able to set a reoccurring meeting and then, it just flows. And so that's just kind of the one thought I wanted to have there. I think I really like the 2-week thing. And so I might suggest a motion for, I'm going to do it. I would like to motion for all agenda items or topics to be submitted in email for the time being to Joan. And if your hope is to have it on the following month's agenda, for it to be in at least 2 weeks prior to our meeting. And then Joan and the CCRP chair and or vice chair will meet to confirm and agendize the topics. Do I have a second?
Second. Sorry, that was really loud.
Are there any questions or discussion before I call the rest of the vote? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yay, we did it.
All right. And then do we have any public comments for this item? I believe the answer was no, but I'm just double checking. E4.
No public comments.
All right. Then I think it is safe to move to item F5. This one is present and discuss current CCRP FAQ from Sam and Michael and Joe. I'm thinking it's mostly Sam and Michael.
Okay, this has been a long time coming for all of us here. So I'm just gonna read it with each of these facts and the responses. In generating them, it comes from lived experience from the work that I've done, but more importantly, it's come from different jurisdictions throughout the nation, some of which myself, LaShonda, Sam, Joan have visited. All of these can be changed and discussed and figure out how do we tailor it to our community? How do we tailor it to Richmond? So these have been pretty thought through, but we're definitely open to having some suggestions. So I'm just going to read them exactly the way they read here. Do I got 2 minutes?
Can y'all see the presentation? No? Okay. IT, can we get the presentation up? Thank you. And also just to add to what Michael was saying, we're presenting this so that some of the questions that y'all had in the first meeting, there was a lot there. So we're hoping that this is a good introduction for what the program is and what we've been working on.
Okay, what is CCRP? I just want to say that I designed this page in Canva. I'm getting pretty good at that, but let me stay on point. Okay, CCRP, this has been a long time coming. CCRP stands for the Community Crisis Response Program. It's a newly established department within the city of Richmond. It is a supportive safety response system designed to address non-medical, non-violent, and low acuity behavioral health calls. Next slide. What does low acuity mean in crisis emergency context? A low acuity call, crisis, or emergency means that it is perceived as a crisis or emergency by the community member that is not life-threatening, meaning no potential police intervention or medical personnel are required due to violence, crime, or a medical need. Who is ROC? Through a citywide poll, we asked our community to help name our new mobile crisis response team, and they chose Reach Out with Compassion and Kindness, or ROC. This name reflects the supportive and caring response our team provides. Really is a cool name, isn't it? I'm just saying. All right. Okay, what is the purpose of the ROC team? The ROC team is a new safety response system that provides a compassionate, effective response to non-life-threatening situation. Richmond's 911 communication center dispatch and the non-emergency line receive over 200 calls per year.
200,000.
200,000 calls per year. This is an average of 16,000 calls per month and an estimated 533 calls per day. By offering this complimentary option to our dispatch, we ensure the right person response reaches every call. This allows fire and police to focus on urgent emergencies while our team connects individuals in crisis with support and services that they need. The ROC team strengthens Richmond's community safety system and would allow not just dispatch, but police or fire personnel already involved in an incident, another safety unit that can coordinate supportive or follow-up resources upon request. This gets asked a lot. Everybody's big question is this job dangerous? Should we be sending folks out that, onto these type of difficult calls at times? And is it dangerous to respond to a crisis without police? The safety of our responders in the community is our top priority. That's why the ROC team undergoes a vigorous 8-week training academy before we hit the streets. These trainings will include topics such as de-escalation, crisis response, and trauma-informed care. These training courses were developed with leading experts in the field and similar programs locally and nationally. CCRP also worked alongside Richmond Police and Fire for their input and training. In addition, they will train side by side with Richmond Fire, Richmond Police personnel to assure everyone is well trained in expectations and goals for supportive response encounters. For added safety, teams are always equipped with a direct radio link to dispatch for immediate medical service and support if it's needed. Now, this has been a big topic, not just locally here, but nationally. And I know, Andrew, you've done a lot of great work. And part of how we got to where we're at was just everything's been data-driven. So starting off this program, we have a working group that consisted of myself, Sam, Joan, LaShonda, the police department, the fire department, and then we've had, and crime prevention as well. So we all have been meeting since January to come up with some calls that we all agree on that would make sense. So CCRP staff is working collaboratively with dispatch and first responders to review and analyze call type data and determine which types of calls are best suited for ROC to respond to. To ensure the safety of everyone involved, calls will regularly evaluated. The current proposed call types include the following: a low-level behavioral health crisis. We'll be doing wellness checks. We'll be responding to disturbances. And I'll clarify that at the end. Safe transports. We'll be doing passive suicidal ideations, mediation, requests for information or resources, or our firefighters or officers may request support or a follow-up after they've come on scene. And I just want to preface that by, it's really nice for us to have our dispatchers, incredible dispatchers, and they triage everything. And we talked about this at the first moving. For instance, a disturbance could be considered, it's breaking the law. It could be a crime, as is a nuisance, as is prowling, as is everything else. But our dispatchers will be trained, skilled, and it'll be discussions that we've had with all of our team members. So they'll go through a very specific questionnaire as to whether or not they can send the ROC team out to this particular call. And we continue to work weekly with our dispatch manager, Yvonne Lima, LaShonda, myself, Sam, Joan. We've all traveled to different jurisdictions. We're working with other 911 dispatch and Communication Center. So this is going to be a real key piece, and it's nice that here in Richmond, we have a good team working together. The dispatch team's going to be great. Thank you. Next slide. What services does CCRP provide? CCRP offers immediate support through crisis de-escalation, mediation, alcohol and substance use interventions, behavioral health care, and system navigation to city, county, and state services. One common obstacle to accessing help is lack of awareness, support, and accessing available resources. A key objective of the ROC team is to bridge this gap by connecting Richmond community members with the appropriate services tailored to meet their specific needs. All services provided by the ROC team are voluntary, meaning the individual chooses to receive services and support. It's critical. Next slide, please. Who will staff the ROC vans? All staff will be City of Richmond employees. Each van will be staffed by 2 community intervention specialists who have the education and background in crisis work. Responders will undergo an extensive training in behavioral health crisis response, de-escalation, trauma-informed care, and mediation for individuals living with a substance or alcohol use disorder. ROC responders bring along with them their own lived experiences. It's part of the long process in hiring the right folks that will allow them to connect and support our community through compassion and empathy. Next slide. Will the ROC vans be used to transport individuals? Only if the individual voluntarily chooses services. And we'll be very, very deliberate in working with our team on that. If we have somebody that wants the help and we can walk them through the help, we absolutely want to be there to support that effort. And it's huge to watch somebody put their hand up when they get the choice to get the help that they need. It's awesome. Next slide, please. Will CCRP require all their community intervention specialists to be licensed clinicians? The answer to that is no, but with the 7 that we have right now, I think we've got a few folks that have already worked doing this type of work from other jurisdictions. We've got master's degrees. We've got a couple with master's degrees. We got some certificated folks. So we have a powerhouse team starting on 12/1, so it's going to be cool to see. And that was just by luck of the draw. We didn't really spend a lot of time. We were looking more at personality and lived experience that would apply to this type of work that we're going to be doing in our city. So just like, oh, cool. So you do got an MSW and everything else it was. But anyhow, no, we believe crisis work is centered around one's ability to connect with people in an impactful and meaningful way. Our responders come from a large pool of candidates with a deep connection to and/or are passionate about serving our Richmond community. The ROC team is comprised of individuals with a combination of education, lived experience, and the ability to connect with individuals in crisis. Each of our selected ROC responders were selected based on a stringent hiring and background process. Where does the ROC team respond? Big question, and that especially comes up when we have other cities that are bordering. But for now, we have it as ROC will respond to calls within the Richmond city limits. There may be calls related to Richmond residents that may also be served by the ROC team or is evaluated by dispatch and executive management. If I could touch on that for a minute, oftentimes what we'll see, it's come up before where a college or a school that's in our area may not be in the city of Richmond, but it's a resident that we work with. We're going to go take care of one of our residents. Roughly, I'm not going to say wherever they're at, but if we have one of our residents that needs help, we're going to roll out. So that'll be neat. Okay, is there a cost to receive services? No. The ROC team provides a broad range of no-cost services to Richmond residents, such as providing information and referrals, crisis intervention, transportation to other service providers, and social service needs. Is ROC responding to calls now? I'd like to thank LaShonda White for making sure that when I first started here in May of last year that I would get calls 2, 3, 4 times a week. As the program prepares for its official launch, myself and Sam have been responding to calls, and even Joan started out and responding to calls when she first got here, for service from City of Richmond departments. As of 11/1/2025, we had to put a hard stop on it because there's so many needs in our community from all over. It's been neat to watch people hear about the ROC services, but if we keep responding now, we can't build the foundation of this program that we're all doing here now. I mean, even now with these agenda items, if we can focus on that and just build this foundation. So we had a hard stop. We're trying to stay on point with the hard stop, but we're still responding. So we're really need to establish our boundaries to knock this thing out. Individualized service responses have been placed on hold until ROC responders are onboarded to ensure safety protocols are in place to maximize benefit to the community member and the program. I put that again in orange. All calls for service at this time should be directed to 911 dispatch, A3, which is our mental health crisis response for the county, CORE, or Richmond's Housing Authority, depending on the call. Is there an advisory board connected to CCRP? Any help with that here? Too cool. Yes, there is. Very proud of that. The board is expected to consist of at least 9 and at most 13. That's where I got the 13 number. Board members represent the diverse demographic background and perspectives within the Richmond community. As of November 2025, there have been 11 members appointed. If you are interested in learning more or would like to apply to be a board member, please visit Community Crisis Response Program Advisory Board, Richmond, California, and that's their official website. All calls for service at this time should be directed, I put it in there again, I got to get this knocked out, to 91183 Core Richmond Housing Authority. How can I learn about CCRP? And we have links. Joan and Rob and our last intern have worked real hard on this. You can contact staff for program information, and we have our CCRP at Richmond. You can also visit the website, and there's a few websites on there for you to reach out to. Is that it?
Thank you so much for the
Beautiful.
presentation.
Thank you.
Folks have questions? Comments?
Yeah, I have a comment and a question. Thank you so much. I read this earlier today. It was just really beautiful to see just everything, the whole CCRP just really summed up into this document here. And so I just want to thank you guys for the work to put this together. Super excited to see the call types. I think this is a really wonderful list. I'm just so happy for all these different kinds of calls. Just one of the quick questions, which is just kind of like I guess like an efficiency question, I guess, is so for the list of the different call types that are here, are they corresponding, or like are they the same identifications that the dispatchers are using right now? So like right now, for like for example, for police officers, are they responding when dispatchers are sending out the officers? Are they categorizing them the same way that we see here in this list right now?
Yeah, we have to learn the dispatch language. They're not gonna use a different language for us. And so what it's gonna be is the calls the way it is in their system, and then they just decide, is it EMS, is it fire, is it A3, is it ROC, is it police?
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I just wanted to make that clear.
And if I could just touch on that, Board Member Melendez, thank you for, I know you've been helping this movement for a long time, and thank you very much for that. As far as what we're doing with dispatch, a lot of what Rob's doing, he brings not only is he a doctor, but he's as an MSW intern, and he's got some mad skills when it comes to building out back-end dashboards and whatnot. So we're literally trying to integrate everything that is not everything, but just making sure that we know, like a welfare check call might be at 1016 432, and then we're also going to have parts of our website that are going to have ROC specific calls. And we'll start with the very basic ones. It would be a ROC welfare check. That's when there's no weapons, there's no medical. It might be a call that came to dispatch multiple times, low level, they've been out before. It might be an elderly individual that just needs someone to check on them, make sure that they're eating, make sure that they called their son or daughter in another city or state. So there's a lot that will be it'll be ROC welfare check, ROC disturbance, so, and that will actually be in, if you will, the dashboard that Rob's building out with our dispatch and with the system that we're designing right now. It's going to be awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is just wanting to make sure that dispatchers, right, are able to understand that same language, are able to, quickly, effectively send out ROC when it's applicable, and it seems like that's going on. So super, yeah, thank you so much. I just had one more question, which is just a clarity question. Can you just describe a little bit more on the, I'm sorry, where was it again? Where was it? Disturbances. I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but can you just cover one more time what different kinds of responses are within that disturbance section?
So go ahead. Yeah, with disturbances, gosh, there's so many things that could be considered a disturbance. And that's why it's almost with every call, it's so broad. You know, what is considered a disturbance? I could be walking back and forth in front of somebody's store or their house, and that could be a disturbance. You know, how many times are you going to do that? I may have a flashlight on my head, or I may be walking my dog, or not have a dog, or may think I have a dog, and I keep walking back and forth in front of the house, and that's a disturbance. I'm trying to watch, you know, whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to do it. If I'm out in my yard just hanging out and somebody keeps walking back and forth, if I want to walk back and forth with a flashlight, I can do that. But if somebody calls, our officers typically, there's been so many calls that our officers and our firefighters and EMS have gotten called to that it's like this isn't a police matter. It's the same person that walks by with the same flashlight, apparently got new batteries, and now we need to send somebody else out. So now we can actually absorb that call, and it's one less call that you know, fire and all the other first responders don't have to go on. But just going back to that number of 533 calls per day is what our dispatchers are getting right now. If we can help out with some of those, I'm even a small percentage, even at 10%, that's 5.3. We won't get into projections and whatnot, but there's a lot we can help our community with just on those calls. There's just no way in what I think this movement and industry that Richmond has undertaken is showing that there's so much more that, and you know, and we call it, it's got different names in the nation, but it's alternative, it's supportive services, collaborative services. That's really where it all comes down to, everybody working together and just truly making a difference and giving our communities some new choices. Pretty cool.
If I could just add for clarity on that one, there might be, and I'm just guessing this number, but there might be 15 different categories of a disturbance that dispatch may have. And in the initial months, year, they might be very comfortable with sending us to 2 or 3. Once we build the trust, once we build their confidence in what we can accomplish, just as every jurisdiction that we've seen, that list, that number just goes up and up and up. But they have to be confident in our skill set, and we have to also go out there in the community and let the community know what we're trying to accomplish and build relationships out there when we're not on a call. Start doing proactive things at Nevin Park or right here in City Hall. Waking up, we ain't getting no calls. Waking folks up. They're about to call police on you because you're laying in front of this store. So let's get you some coffee. Let's get you something in your stomach. And where would you go once police said you need to leave? So we'll be able to do a lot of that, and we'll be able to categorize it and capture it by self-dispatching on the CAD system. So we can capture that, and then they can start seeing, that was 15 less calls this morning for somebody sleeping in the stoop of somebody than the last average for the last week. So we're going to have to be proactive initially, going out there, showing folks our skills, building the community's confidence in our ability to make things better for folks. And then those numbers will climb. And then we'll also be able to capture the calls that we weren't able to go on that would have normally been a rock call. And then that way we get to say, look what we could do with more.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
I also want to thank and congratulate you for all this incredible work. It really looks great. I love the way it's shaping up. And I'm very excited about the sense of educating police and fire. And I want to bring up, I'll probably bring this up every chance I get, that somehow also like to see some language or attitude or approach that includes educating both the recipients of services and the community at large, so that you're never going to put yourself out of business. I know that's not possible, but sharing the spreading increased expertise among community members to do some of the same kind of stuff that you're doing, and also educating the recipient of services so that they can be more self-sufficient, have more sense of their agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Lucero. And this is kind of the fun part of the services that we're getting ready to launch, is because we will be working closely. A lot of our trainings will be with our fire departments. We'll be visiting each of the fire departments on different shifts. So part of that 8-week training will be to go work, go meet up at the different, like I said, all 7 stations in Richmond, and meet with the firefighters and see how what a warm handoff looks like. What does it mean when we have to, pivot in and they do a warm introduction? Same thing with our officers. Everybody's learning a new way, and approach dictates outcomes all the time. Is how do we approach that? Everything, when it sounds like easy enough to approach. And the beauty of the services that we're providing is we have 5 minutes or 5 hours. If that's what it takes for us to sit down wherever our community members are at, in-house, in a business, on the streets, anywhere they're at, our team, part of this is going to be educating the community, like you mentioned, and just kind of blowing our officer and firefighters' minds. They're going to be, dude, Rob just came up and started singing Yankee Doodle Dandy when he approached this gentleman. But what they didn't know is Rob had spent a lot of time with this individual, but understood that whether it was a developmental disability or something on a spectrum disorder, whatever the case may be, this is stuff that we've learned from sitting with them time after time. So our community, if they see us playing it, one of our persons might play guitar. It's like, we're paying to have somebody play guitar. We're like, have you ever heard Smoke on the Water? And watch the reaction you get from that. We need to build rapport with that. And I've seen it from other jurisdictions that I worked in, the officers. We're going to learn from them. They're going to learn from us. Same with fire. Learned a lot from the fire personnel. And everybody's like, that's kind of cool. One of the trainings we have is through the eyes of an officer, and then through the eyes of a ROC responder, so that everybody in the collaboration kind of sees what they're seeing from your perspective. Obviously, with police and fire, there's safety and medical concerns. That's their first thing when they see that. We're seeing the same thing, but we're seeing more of the behaviors. So it's just learning to bring those optics together, and we're constantly educating one another. And we're going to do this 8-week training, and it's going to be fantastic, and we're going to learn a lot. But it's going to come down to reps. Like our staff starting now, it's going to be, how many responses have you gone on? How many suicidal teens have you visited? How many times have you transported to Martinez? So anyways, I don't want to get too excited. But
Yeah, thanks so much for this great work. Could we potentially go back to the slide with the call types, just to look at that again? Is that possible? Thanks. Yeah. So just to follow up on Andrew's question, I admittedly don't know much about how dispatch exactly works, but I assume that there are dispatch codes that are associated with each of these bullet points. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And have we reached an agreement with the relevant parties for, at least at this current juncture, for which dispatch codes that correspond to each bullet ROC will be assigned to?
no, and that's part of what we're building. And the reason for that, Board Member Strain, is so that we're trying to build it within the system that Rob's working hard on. It's called Apricot, that's going to capture all that data. So, and we're close to there. We just got the site actually handed to us so we can document as of last week, make sure it's safe, make sure it's secure, make sure it's encrypted. Rob's trying to automate it with some of our other peripheral partners, but it will match up, because we know that the data is going to be clutch. We need to know how many welfare check calls we went out on even the disturbance calls. And again, it will show a disturbance call. That will be a standard response call. But in the meantime, we're also going to be designing rock-specific calls. So they will all be lined up as much as possible. Part of what Rob's working on is building in, because we'll be working off the fire department's system, communication system, in what's called tablet command. And so those will have very deliberate and specific call types. So we'll be able to get a number. We'll know we'll know daily how many welfare checks calls we went on today. How many times did dispatch call us out from a community member looking for service? How many times did our officers call and ask us for support or provide a warm handoff? Same with the fire department, same with A3, same with CORE, same with SOS, any of those. So we spend a lot of time just getting all of that information because everything matters. So it will align. It will need to align for all of us to kind of look at our data and look at where we're strong, look at where we're weak. Some of the historical information we had when we got here. I mean, we'll be able to know what type of calls in which area of Richmond can we count on happening, from 3 to 5, 5 to 7, part of even building out our times of service. The data is going to tell us where we need to be. So when our teams are out in the community to say that orange van's always parked over there by Foodco or it's over by Hilltop, it's going to be where they're there for a very specific reason. And usually you'll see location and type of call tied right into that. It's going to be a pretty neat once it's done.
If I can add to that, just because I think I'm understanding what you're trying to get at. There will not be anything on this list to where every call that goes into dispatch matching that call type will go to ROC for number of different reasons. So they're going to go through their triage, and even though it's a disturbance, they're going to say, okay, this is a priority 1 disturbance. That wouldn't be a call for ROC. The priority 4 disturbance would be a call, and whatever went through that triage that made them make that a priority 1 or priority 2, that's what would decide who would go.
Yeah.
It could definitely be normal violence at the house during a welfare check. Do we want to send somebody who there's been constant violence at this house? Do you want to send someone who's an unarmed responder? But if it's the old man that last 4 times in the last 6 months, because folks ain't giving him his hearing aid batteries, so he don't even hear folks knocking at the door. And so you go, and that would be something, ROC can take care of that, because the last 4 times we've sent police to it, and it was a waste of resources.
Yeah.
So there's never going to be a time where every single time that it's that call type, it would be appropriate for ROC.
Yeah. Well, you have a question? Yeah, just one, because to your point, Michael, that's helpful to hear about the dashboard. It just seems that's sort of like answering the question of like after the fact, how are we tracking, right? What's happening? But then there's still this question of like the dispatch has to make a call, and how do they make the call? And presumably there has to be some set of codes or some set of like triage protocols that have been agreed to in order to make the call about whether ROC versus the police versus fire will intervene. And I guess maybe today's not the right time to talk about exactly what that protocol is, but it seems like we need to sort of have a sense of that to be able to move forward.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I did see, I've been watching hands and I saw this hand and this hand.
So whose turn is it? Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate this conversation. Thank you for all the work you're doing. And I think that is a crucial conversation and probably a bigger one. And I appreciate, Sam, how you're sharing, like, it's a priority to track what calls could go to ROC, like what calls we're able to respond to versus what we don't yet have capacity for, so that we're capturing that as like an advocacy for more growth. And then my question is just, I have a few questions, but it says, okay, the slide is gone now, but it says these are calls that ROC could respond to. And I'm curious about the could, like, I get that we don't maybe have the exact coding fully worked out, but has it been decided that these are the buckets that Rock is going to be responding to, like the call types generally, or is this like the proposed and it hasn't been like fully decided? And then I just like sneaky second question, substance use, is that included in just behavioral health in there, or because I didn't see a substance use bullet point, but I see that in later slides.
The substance use and training is for staff members to understand that at any given time they go to any of these calls, substance use or substance abuse might be part of it. And so you want to be well trained in anything that may come from engaging the citizen and the client that we'd be serving, our residents. Nothing is set in stone. We are continuing to work with dispatch, and we still have time, to get this locked in, because they're still going to have to train their dispatchers to make sure they're triaging correctly. So we're working with their management. We're working with the brass in law enforcement. We're getting feedback from a lot of different people because we want to get it done right. We want to do it right. We don't want to make a mistake, because the first thing that happens if we make a mistake and someone is harmed, like, this all goes away. And so we want to make sure that we're doing it effectively, we're doing it appropriately, we're learning from the mistakes of all the other jurisdictions that are doing this work. Somebody on staff is on a monthly call there's 112 folks involved, but at any given time you got 70 to 80 different jurisdictions on this monthly call, because they want to be able to help each other get it right the first time, because they've seen folks who did it wrong and they've seen the consequences of that. So we want to just be very mindful of learning from everybody else's learning experiences, not making the same mistakes twice, and pulling from their failures and understanding that. So nothing is set in stone. Dispatch is being very helpful. I believe I said this before, but their job is very complicated, and they're doing 100 different things at the same time. And if you don't know how they do their job, I encourage you all to ask they call it a sit-in instead of a ride-along, they call it a sit-along, and just seeing how they move. And then also just seeing those calls that are just sitting up there for 2 hours, 3 hours, where nobody's responding. That's easy, that's low-hanging fruit. Those can absolutely be rock calls. And the more they feel comfortable with us, the more they feel confident with us, the more professional we are, letting them know we're okay, checking in on the radio every 4 or 5 minutes. If we walk with a fella a block down because he's agitated, we let them know we're on this block instead of that block. So if something happens, you know where to come look for me. It's about building that trust to where everybody knows they are effective at their job. And then we just go from there.
Sorry, just real quick, we're at 8:28, so if we do want to extend the meeting past 8:30, someone would have to make a motion.
I could ask my question, they can respond to it next meeting. Quickly, just wanted to have something where was it my turn or no? Oh, it's her turn. Then my question wait to the next meeting, because I want to leave at 8:30.
I would also just ask my question and get an answer at some point, because it is definitely not a 1-minute question. I was wondering, fully appreciating all of the work and the grounding in reality that I've heard you explain. I think, Sam, last time, the first meeting, you were explaining like how this collaboration came to be, and all of the travel that you did to research how this has actually gone down in other places. But I'm wondering, in your vision and in your, maybe it's a long-term vision, is there any future that you see in which there is a way for the community to decide not to call 911, but instead to be able to call directly? And you don't have to answer that right now. Yeah. Crystal?
I'm going to reserve my question to the next meeting. I want us to really try to adhere to our time period and not keep going over.
Great, thank you all for the discussion. Before we And I think we do one more public comment. Is that correct? Yep.
There are no public speakers.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This adjourns tonight's meeting.
Yeah, meeting adjourned at 8:30 p.m., but somebody does have to motion.
Does
A
any,
motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
Right on time. Yay.